Sabbath. Charlie Kirk, known for his strong voice in the political and cultural arena, surprised everyone by leaving a testimony that cannot be ignored. His words about sacred rest echo as a call to reflection and faith at a time when truth is increasingly silenced.
Honored to be here, and thank you. The Sabbath is one of my favorite topics to talk about, honestly, because I'm so sick of talking about politics all day long. It's all I do. So it drives me crazy. This is actually way more important than that, and I could tie the two together if necessary, but we don't have to. It's more important than that. I grew up in a Presbyterian background. We left that church. We went to what could be best called as a Bible-believing evangelical church. So not quite Calvinist, not Pentecostal, somewhere in the middle. Look, we believe many of the same stuff, guys. I believe in the inerrancy of Scripture. I believe you need Jesus Christ. I believe in grace, not works. I believe that there is heaven awaiting us. I believe in an afterlife. I believe in a God that created the heavens and the earth. However, I grew up in a church environment that at the very best would de-emphasize the Shabbat. At the very worst, say that the Sabbath doesn't really matter. The Sabbath is in your heart. You don't need to observe it.
Yeah.
And the story is quite long. I'm actually writing my next book on the Sabbath. It's called Stop in the Name of God.
Notice how Charlie Kirk acknowledges that he grew up in a Christian environment where the Sabbath was practically ignored. But something changed in his life. He realized that this commandment is not just a religious detail, but a practice capable of transforming routine, protecting family, and strengthening faith.
I'm actually writing my next book on the Sabbath. It's called Stop in the Name of God, because Shabbat means stop or ceasing. So I'm not here to sell you a book. It's not even for sale yet. It's just something to think about. And it's honestly how the Sabbath saved my life and helped preserve my family and helped preserve my career. And so two things. Number one, a pastor that I really care about, Pastor David Engelhardt. He's one of our board members at Turning Point USA. I was exhausted. It was the summer of 2021. I sat down with him. I said, I'm not sleeping well. I'm fatigued. And he asked me very bluntly, are you honoring the Sabbath? And I gave him very weak theological arguments, honestly. Oh, I'm not bound to that. Or no, I'm not really interested in that. I don't have to do that. And he really challenged me, and I didn't have good responses, to be perfectly honest with you.
Notice how Charlie emphasizes that the Sabbath is not just an ancient tradition or ritual. For him, it was a real turning point, something that brought balance to his life, strengthened his family, and brought meaning to his routine. The advice of a pastor led him to begin looking at this commandment in a practical and personal way.
Allie, I don't know if you know this. Last July, I was traveled all across the country last year. I was getting really stressed and just worn down, typical stuff that happens on the road. And a pastor friend of mine said, Charlie, you got to take a Sabbath. And I was like, oh, we're not bound by that commandment, whatever. And he really convicted me. So every Friday night, I take a Jewish Sabbath, turn off my phone, Friday night to Saturday night. The world cannot reach me, and I get nothing from the world. It will bless you infinitely. Now, I'm not saying you're bound by the law as a Christian. I'm not saying that that's something you have to do.
Notice how he applies the Sabbath in practice, an intentional time of rest, disconnecting from the world, social media, and daily pressures. Charlie shows that this commandment is not only religious, but an opportunity to restore the mind, faith, and relationships.
And if you believe Genesis 1:1, then you honor the Sabbath. If you have questions about Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, which is Bereshith, right? It's the first truth claim of the Scriptures. Then on the seventh day you rest because God created the heavens and the earth. It is the longest standing celebration of time of the creation of the heavens and the earth. And so that realization changed my life. I could talk about this from many different dimensions, what it's meant for me personally, what it means on the macro. I also go to churches across the country. I speak at hundreds of churches of all different denominations, and I will challenge the Christian church because I believe this is the most ignored commandment of the Decalogue to our own detriment. And I will go a step further, and then I'll stop talking because I know we have a whole program.
No, it's fine.
Which is that I believe that honoring the Sabbath is the commandment that allows you to honor the other 9 commandments, and that the enemy has gone after the honoring the Sabbath because then it is easier to weaken the other 9.
These words from Charlie Kirk remain as a final legacy. For him, the Sabbath was not just a forgotten tradition, but a living reminder that God is in control. Resting in Him strengthens our faith, helps us obey his commandments, and appreciate what really matters in life. Perhaps this is the greatest lesson he left us, to recognize the true power of rest and faith.